Haiti borders with the Dominican.
Her name is Serena Buffalino. They call her Mrs. B, and her class always begins with a pledge.
Something local, something global. Haiti.
They're words that carry weight here. Helping yourself means helping others, giving back, here and a world away in Haiti.
And nobody's helping them, except for people like us.
It was through her the class learned of Haiti, of the nearly 1 million orphans, many with no school, no support, no Mrs. B in their lives.
They could not wrap their head around that.
Mrs. B's students are among Toronto's most at risk. Their challenges vary from emotional and behavioral difficulties to learning disabilities. Their trauma is so severe they can't function in a regular school setting, and we aren't allowed to show most of their classmates.
For most of the kids, most of society has turned them away. And in this classroom, they're accepted. They're accepted no matter what for who they are.
Take Yolanda. She came here last year so burdened and withdrawn, she would often fall silent, sometimes for days on end. It was, she says, Mrs. B's patience, her quiet encouragement, that saved her.
She actually saves people's lives from dangers.
And perhaps that's why these marginalized kids feel such a kinship with the orphans of Haiti, and why they were moved to act.
And so when Yolanda and Jackie and Patrick said, well, Miss B, we need to build them a school.
Build a school, no easy task. They started out raising money. They sold samosas, washed cars, screened movies, you name it. And in just a few months, this little class raised $20,000. So much, it's not just a one-room schoolhouse they can build, but a full 3-story school. And so Mrs. B set off on a journey she'd dreamed of, up into the dusty mountains above Port-au-Prince to a town called Canaan. It's home to thousands of earthquake refugees who live with no running water, no electricity, and no school, until now. The first step was a temporary school. It's up and running. 53 students already in uniform. The permanent school for 250 is growing from its foundations.
It makes me want to cry because she just makes me feel so awed, and I'm very proud of her.
All of this because of a handful of students back in Canada, and Mrs. B, the teacher who believed in them.
These are for you.
At another fundraiser, a special tribute to the students, accepted by someone who, without Mrs. B, might not be here.
They believe in me and I believe in them, and together we not only change our lives, but we change the world around us.
For inspiring great things and seeing the potential in everyone, Serena Buffalino is this week's Everyday Hero.
This is the reason why I do what I do, is because of Yolanda and all the...
Life is so fragile, and we're constantly reminded just how fragile life can be, especially when we or a loved one is told we have cancer. Cancer survivor myself, I can tell you, we still feel very alone in this journey.
There's a study that's been shown that patients who are socially isolated have a worse prognosis, have a worse outcome than patients who are socially interconnected.
Buddies for Life is a non-profit cancer support group for those whose life has been impacted by cancer. We'll match you with the perfect buddy. Humor, hope, heart, and hugs.
Humor, hope, heart, hugs, and a whole lot of love.
We're offering you a free membership, so please sign up today. Share this with your friends and family and support this community in every way you can. No one should face cancer alone.
I am a chemo buddy for life.
We are a Buddies Network.
No one does cancer alone.
Be a buddy.
And we are all here for you as a community of love.
We are chemo buddies for life.
And if you've heard 3 words, you have cancer, for yourself or someone else, you belong with us at Chemo Buddies for Life.
Healing through connections.
Good morning, and happy Tuesday. I was about to say Wednesday. I'm still on that 3-day week thing. Hopefully everybody can hear me. You know, I'm vulnerable. You know, I tell it like it is. So this morning, again, and I don't know, I think it's something with just me teaching me how to be patient with technology. Because hopefully you can hear me. I had to wind up going on a 3rd laptop in order to get my sound together. But you know what? This morning is not about me and my sound. I just thought about that. I said, because this, every Tuesday, as you know, we have one of the new shows that's coming on, the Impact Hour. The Impact Hour. So I'm just kind of coming in just to kind of tell everybody, get ready for some epic stuff. That's all I got to say. Get ready for some epic things going on with Anary. She is a Miss Wonderful, Miss Queen, Miss Impactor. I'm telling you, she brings it on. Last week, if you missed it, you need to go back to the show last Tuesday and watch it. I'm telling you, watch the show last Tuesday. And I know today is going to be even more phenomenal. So I just want to really bring her on so she can start and get things rolling. And then I'll be back towards the end to wrap it all up in a little bow. So we'll see. Well, let me bring on the queen. Here she comes.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Impact Hour. I really appreciate you, Miss Barbara, and all that you've done and everything, the introduction and all. You're such a beautiful lady making this platform for us all. Um, I really appreciate you. And I hope that at the end, you're going to share your quote with us. I missed that this morning. I see you missed that part because of the technical difficulties, but we definitely want to go back and get that. So I really appreciate you. On today, everyone, it's going to be, like she said, an epic show. This month is all about the foundation of impact and how that affects your life as a whole. So we'll get into all the business stuff, you know, the how-tos and things like that. But I learned in my journey that the foundation is you, right? The foundation of all of your impact is you, who you are, how you show up to the world, and how you have the self-esteem to do so. So then on today, we're going to be talking about how determination impacts your success. And we have with us today Trent. I met him years ago under his brand, Some Call Me Trent. And so I'm really excited to have him on today. Hello, how are you?
Hey there, how are you? Long
I'm
time,
great.
man. Long time. How are you?
Good. Can we get you to turn up your volume maybe just a little bit so we can want to make sure we can hear you? You know, you're soft spoken.
One second. Is that better?
That's better. Better.
Gotcha.
Okay. So I know the Trent from before, right? The Some Call Me Trent. Motivation, inspiration, getting out there with your podcast and shows and everything, and leaving that impact on the world. So you definitely are the counterpart of what we call an impact leader. But I want to give you time to dive into your story, this first 10 minutes that we have. And then we're going to dive in deeper about your journey, the last 30 minutes of the show, so that everyone can get the full picture of determination and what that looks like. So
Okay.
tell us a little bit about your story.
Well, I'm actually, like Anary said, Trent Williams from Conversations with Trent. The brand was, I've been doing this for about 15, about 17 years or so. Author, speaker, just everything motivation, everything to motivate, move people where they need to be in life. That's just who I was, who I continue to be.
Right, right, right. So tell us, since we last met, I know we reconnected online. And I was just moved to connect with you, and then we later understood why, right?
Right,
Um,
right.
so start us there with your journey now in the last couple of years, and what that looks like.
Well, January 26th of 20, I had a brain hemorrhage, a bleed on the brain, on the right side of my brain, and became paralyzed and blind in my left eye. So I've been in recovery since then. It's coming along real well, but it was a grueling process. Still continue to be a grueling process, but I'm so much better. Still in rehabilitation, but I'm doing well, doing very well. So now I'm walking. I'm from the wheelchair to the cane. I'm actually walking.
Awesome, awesome. Now, in order to, if you don't mind being transparent, in the middle of that journey, before the determination that we naturally have kicked in, how would you tell people you were in that place once you realized, what your medical condition was? And I'm sure, as doctors do, they told you everything that you wouldn't be able to do, right? You
Yeah,
probably won't do this, and you probably won't do that, and this recovery
exactly.
is going to do this.
Yeah,
Um,
once
what
I
was your
came,
mindset in that moment when they were saying those things?
once I came to and realized that I was in a hospital, and the doctor gave me the paralysis of what was going on with me medically. Pretty much, I wouldn't be able to walk again. I lost sight in my left eye, complete sight in my left eye. Um, I couldn't do anything. Really couldn't do anything. I had to be taken care of. But as he's giving me the paralysis, I'm thinking to myself, "What is he? He can't be talking to me." That's just always been my mindset. You've known me for years. That's always been my mindset. You don't tell me what I can't do. That's not going to work for me. So he's telling me, I won't be able to walk again. It's going to be very difficult to get back to some type of normal life without the assistance of someone helping me. I refused that. I didn't hear that. And I didn't tell him. I already had a conversation with the most important person, in the universe. I had a conversation with God. So I had no interest in what he was talking about. Zero interest in what he was talking about. So from that moment, my mindset was done. So, I appreciate him for the care and all this stuff, the medical care, but let's be clear. I didn't swipe a credit card for this walking again.
Right.
So, I went within. I had to go within and deal with myself and move forward. So I couldn't wallow in that. I couldn't stay stagnant in that. I had no interest in staying stagnant. Wasn't going to be able to move from that.
Right. I absolutely love that. Um, Before we go into commercial break, so that the next part of this dialogue we can really go back and forth, I remember sharing with you, and this is something I haven't shared with the audience yet. I've told my suicide story and things like that, but I didn't
Right.
tell them that June the 9th will be a year for me. Uh, June 2020, I had a major 7-hour surgery. My body shut down. the paralysis thing. I'm in and out of doctors, and I'm trying to figure out why I'm going numb, or why I'm sitting in my bedroom, and I want to go to my kitchen, but it takes me 3 hours to get there because my brain and my body just weren't communicating.
Exactly.
So 7 hours later, 50 stitches down my neck and spine later, incision here as well. They had to move my esophagus and my windpipe to the side to fix it. I was on a breathing tube, all of the above. Like I said, you know how doctors do, right? So they told me that I would have a severe sore throat. As a singer, I wouldn't sing anymore. As a public speaker, or a person that talks in the public, I wouldn't be able to do that anymore. They told me that I wouldn't be up and moving for at least 4 to 6 weeks. And I came out of surgery, and on the way up to the room, I was talking, and the nurses put me in the bed, and I'm like, do I have to get in the bed? Can I sit up for a while?
Right.
Defying those odds. Now, I strongly believe that it is in these situations, it's that mindset that you already have embedded in you that makes a difference in your outcome. Do you believe that?
I totally believe in that. I stand on that. So literally. But I told everything, man, that everyone has a higher self. Everyone. We just have to tap into it. We just have to tap into it. It takes great patience, takes a ton of meditation, prayer, and you have to be connected to a higher power, period. Let's
Right.
just have a clear understanding that you have to be connected to God. Let's just call him by his name. You have to be connected to Jehovah. That's it.
Right.
You have to get there. You have to be there in order for my healing came in when I reconnected. I was totally, and here's the thing, Anary, I never felt like I was wheelchair bound. I never felt like I was a paraplegic. I never felt like I couldn't work my left side. I never felt I couldn't do anything. I've never felt I was in a bad situation because of my mindset.
Right.
That's when I was able to start the foundation in the middle of recovery. Some call me Trent Foundation in the middle of recovery, because I wanted to help folks like me but didn't have my same mindset. Because when you're in a situation like this, you're responsible for if you're going to win or lose. You're totally responsible.
Yes.
So I wanted to help folks and get them to where they need to be as far, and let them know that, hey, life still goes on. This is not the end of the hourglass. Life goes on.
Right.
With people or not, life's still going to continue. So that's why I started the foundation as far as helping folks with disability. And let's be honest, African Americans really don't have the resource. The majority of them don't have the resources or the knowledge to know where to go to get the knowledge for
Right.
being in this condition. So I'll be that poster child.
Right. I know. For me too, it was the people around me. So as I was going through, yours was unexpected. Mine, was a gradual decline, right? And
Right.
so I have children I have an adult child, but I have other children that's still depending on me to be mom. And even though she's an adult, she's depending on that too, right? And they're watching me deteriorate. My husband's watching me deteriorate. And we're going in and out of these doctor's offices, and nobody knows what's wrong with me, right? And I remember that day he had reached his limit, and he was like, if they don't know, who's going to know, right? Because we kept going out of these doctor's offices and nobody knew what was going on. So your mindset in these situations also affects the people around you, right?
Absolutely. A lot of things. Just the reason why I was so familiar and so understanding with folks with disabilities, I took care of my mother for 25 years.
Right.
So that's where the blessing for me was that God thought enough of me to place me in a situation like this. I knew exactly what to do.
Right.
All the way down to my self-care. I knew exactly what to do. I knew the resources to grab for. I knew this because God blessed me to take care of my mother for 25 years.
Well, that was a blessing. I know We took care of a
Most
lot
folks,
of elderly.
exactly. Most folks think about, like, when you get in a situation like this, most folks will be like, well, woe it's me, woe it's me. I never once questioned God, not one
Right.
time. I thanked
Right.
him for giving me the knowledge from previous years, for taking care of my mother for 25 years. I was my mother's caretaker for 25 years. Wherever I traveled, she traveled. She was with
Right.
me. So that's where the blessing, I look for the positive in that. So I don't look at the situations as being negative. It's actually a positive. And now that light is shining on other folks as far as helping them and get to where they need to be,
Right.
living in their disability.
Well, what we're going to do when we come back from this commercial break is we're going to dig deeper into gratitude, right? Because I think sometimes that's something people struggle with and they don't even realize they struggle with it. So we want to talk about that. And then we want to talk about how your story, right? I say this all the time. Your story and your testimony carries a purpose, but you have to be transparent about that story in order for it to help others. So we're going
Absolutely.
to go into that and your foundation and how that came from this here, and your past story after this commercial break.
Gotcha.
All right, we are back here with Trent Williams. Um, I used to know him as Conversations with Trent. I used to love that. I definitely have to reflect back to that. That was the times, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. It was some good times, though. Real good times. Real good times.
Yeah, real good times. So before commercial break, we were talking about gratitude, right? And the importance of being grateful. I know last night I was having a mama moment. My 22-year-old is graduating college with 2 bachelor's degrees this Saturday.
Good stuff. Good stuff.
All kind of accolades and things like that.
Stuff.
People would think that the tears came from, oh, my baby's growing up, right? But that wasn't what it was. It was tears of gratitude because I remember at one point in time in her life, wasn't really sure how we were going to feed her, let alone get her through college, right?
Mhm.
When the struggle was deep and real. So let's talk about gratitude. Some people feel like gratitude comes over the bigger victories. But you and I know it comes, especially in your journey, it comes over the smaller ones. How do you feel about that statement that gratitude doesn't come over the bigger victories, but it comes over the
I
smaller ones?
totally agree with it 1,000,000% because in this condition, every single small step is a milestone. When I was able to wiggle my toes again, that was the biggest mountain I climbed. Because when I saw the toes wiggle, I was able to wiggle the toes. I was like, hey man, I could walk. I could really walk. I'm getting some of this feeling back. And as the toes wiggled, I started moving the ankle. As the ankle started moving, I started laying in bed doing this with the legs. Every single step was a milestone for me. And I was so grateful and I thanked him through every single thing. I was so grateful to be in that moment to recognize this.
Right.
When I started moving, my eyesight just came back. Like I said before, I didn't swipe a credit card to get that eyesight back, and the doctor didn't give me a pill for it. So
Right.
I was so grateful, and I was so full of it. I mean, it's a feeling I cannot I cannot. I could pen 1,000 words, but I could never come to pen this feeling. It's an unhumanly feeling, man. When I tell you that, it's just, I'm just grateful, very grateful.
Right. And you know, this show is all about impacting our lives as a whole, including in our business. So while we're in this moment right here, I'd have to say, and you've been, you know, a business owner, and you're running the nonprofit that we're going to share with everyone. In business, it's the same concept, right?
Absolutely.
People like to get discouraged because they haven't reached the big picture. You've got everybody out here selling people 10K a month. You can make 10K a month, 20K a month, 30K a month, from 0 to 30K, and they're not transparent about that journey.
Here's the thing. That's not the rich man. That is not the rich man. Folks always get on this thing of the rich man. The rich, I want to be the rich man. I want to be. That's not the rich man. The rich man is actually sitting in this chair when he could actually get up and walk, grab his cane and continue. That's the rich man.
Right.
So we lose focus on that. We lose focus in today's climate, man. We lose focus on a lot of stuff and lose focus on the goal. But as far as business go, I would say one word: consistency.
Right.
If you're consistent, I don't care if it's 10 years down the road, you're steady going though. If it's a constant
Small
movement,
steps.
if it's a constant movement, you're moving. As long as you're moving, as long as you're not stagnant, that's what a success is. Not becoming stagnant.
Right. And I would add to that, not only not becoming stagnant but with each move. Remember, we talked about purpose in your testimony, right? You survived your journey to help others. I survived my journey to help others. So with every one of those steps, there a lot of times business people in the mindset of how is this step going to make me money, right?
Right.
But when you flip that thing and you say, how is this step going to help someone?
Exactly.
How is this next step going to help someone even more? How is this next step going to impact someone's life? In my experience, the money comes.
Yeah, money.
When you
The
flip
money.
that mindset, the money comes.
Exactly. The money's gonna follow you. The money is actually gonna follow you. But the thing about it is, you have to invest in people first.
Yes.
You have to invest in people first, and it doesn't. I don't mean monetary things. You invest in people, encourage people, get them where they need to be. You become the leader by bringing up the rear.
I love that. That was 2 quotes out of there. I got you. Invested in people. There it is. That's those posts I used to see.
There it is. There it is.
Okay, so we've talked about gratitude, right? And how you have to have gratitude over the little things. And so before we move on to the next thing, I challenge all of the listeners, right? All of the viewers of this show on today. From this day forward, no matter what it looks like, find the small miracles and victory in the situation.
Good stuff.
Right? Grab hold of that and hold on, because if you got that one little miracle and victory, another one is sure to follow. Now let's talk about finding purpose in your story, your journey, and your testimony. Tell us about the purpose you found in this journey.
Well, to be honest, the purpose has always been there. I walked away from the purpose. I went on to do some other things, and I pretty much just stopped the purpose right in the middle of the steam. Right, I mean, train was moving.
Right.
I'm totally responsible for, and I take total responsibility for stopping that train because I was the conductor of that train. And I walked away from the purpose, which I shouldn't have done. But as far as purpose goes, it was always, for me personally, it was always there. I walked away from it. That God-given talent that God gave me, I walked away from it. So this is the second run for me as far as the purpose goes. It's just on a different realm, totally different realm. So purpose is important, but we have to recognize purpose, but we have to dig into oneself to get that purpose and understand that purpose. Purpose could be very challenging to those who haven't reached that realm, the next realm. You have to reach the next realm and understand it. Without understanding, you won't get to the purpose and move into your destiny at all.
Right. I know I smothered my purpose. My train was moving as well, but
Absolutely.
years ago, my mindset, to be honest, was survival. Right. So in my personal world, I help people all day long. But in my business world, I was like, this is my survival. I don't have time to hold people's hand, right? I
And,
don't have time to nurture people, woo people. I got to make that money. That's where
and that's what we lose.
Yeah.
and that's what we lose. And actually, that's what happened with me, chasing that money, investing in things that I should have been investing in, because the investment was already done years past,
Right.
even before I started this new venture. And honestly, no one's to blame for that. That's why I take full responsibility for that. I walked away from the purpose because the purpose was mine.
Right. Right. I did the same thing, running in the wrong direction, right?
Exactly.
And then
I like that.
Yeah, running in the wrong direction. But
End up
then when I realized
running in place. End up
Yeah.
running in place in the wrong direction. You become a hamster on you create your own hamster wheel.
Right. And
Yeah.
that's funny you say that because I use that term quite often, hamster wheel, getting stuck on that hamster wheel. And I did. I'd have success, a bout of success, and then it would drop off. And then I'd climb success, and then it would drop off. And then I climb.
Yeah.
And it was all because I was chasing the money, right?
Exactly.
But when I really flipped that thing, is what I like to say, when I flipped that thing and
Doesn't it
started and
flip?
put
Doesn't it
what I
flip?
did in my personal world into my business and said, okay, it's safe to put people first across the board.
Exactly.
And I'm going to be taken care of. I don't have to chase it.
I'm glad you said that because I'll tell you my experience while I was in the hospital, still paralyzed and blind and everything. I was having a rough day, man. Total rough day. So somehow I landed across the bed, not in the bed, in the hospital bed. It was at this nice rehabilitation center, Ochsner. Actually, that's where I'll be doing the focus groups at Ochsner. How about that? I'm actually doing focus groups at the place where I have my care. But I'm in the middle of, excruciating pain. So I yell out. I was like, God, please do not leave me. Please do not leave me. Clear as day. A voice come to me. He says, Trini, what you talking about? I never left you. I'm still here. I've always loved you like I love David. That's why you see the drive, and I'm re-energized because of that conversation I had with him. He comforted me in that moment. The purpose is still there. That's what I took. The purpose is still there. I never left. You left. You left. The purpose is still there. So it's just a different drive, a bigger drive on a different realm.
Right. So then we'll have to pose the question to all of those who own businesses out there and they find themselves in a struggling state. And answering this question is going to impact your business and give you that 10K, 20K, 30K that you've been relentlessly chasing all of this time. And that is, what is your purpose? Or I like to say, what is your magic elixir? What do you heal? And how have you put that into your business? If the two aren't connected yet, then you're on what we call that hamster wheel. And the only way to get off of that hamster wheel is to not only make that connection, but make it the forefront of your business, and the rest will follow.
Exactly.
Now, when we're talking about purpose and what came out of this, we talked about your mindset and the new level of Trent that came out of this. But how are you using this to help other people? Let's talk about that.
Well, started the foundation, the Some Call Me Trent Foundation for disabilities, helping independent living with disabilities. So I wanted to get to, like I said earlier, get to the point where these folks understand that it's still life after the disability. It's still life. But a lot of folks, when you're in this situation and condition, a lot of folks get trapped in their own heads.
Right.
And a lot of folks don't know how to get out of their own heads. But luckily, I had the tools to do this. I knew exactly what to do because I've been a motivational speaker for years, on top of years. I motivated myself with that. And here's the crazy thing. Part of my recovery and rehabilitation came in the form of Facebook. Everything that I was writing years past, the stuff that you saw, the shows that you saw, I never lived those experiences while I was doing that stuff and writing those books and all that stuff. God preserved all of that for me to read in this condition. So I was writing that back then for myself unknowingly. I didn't know I was writing that for myself. That's what got me over this hump. All those quotes, those thousands of quotes, 7,000, 8,000 quotes to the books, everything. Every day I would see a memory on Facebook that reminds me of someone's journey. I was like, wow, I didn't experience this stuff back then. I had never experienced any of that stuff I was writing. I was being preserved for me, for this moment.
Right.
That's
right.
how I was able. That's how I was able to get to the place where that's when the purpose came full circle for me. It's like, oh, this is what I'm supposed to be doing. This is it. That's where the realm changed. That's where I went to another realm. I knew exactly what I'm supposed to be doing. I was made for this moment. As you can see the quote in the back. You see, can you read that quote?
No, I can't. Tell me what it says.
It says, perhaps this is the moment that you were created. This is the very moment that you were created. That's and I had my nurse put that on the wall because I wanted to see that every single morning she came in and get me out of bed, get me to that wheelchair to make sure that's the first thing I wanted to see. Right. So I went back and forth with her for a while with that. She said, why do you want words around you? Why do you want words? I said, I'm a wordsmith. Right. I need to see these words. All over this room, there's pray, faith over fear, everything. I got words that speak to me. I let it speak to me. That's how I was able to channel that purpose. Once I knew exactly, okay, this is what I was supposed to be doing this for years.
Right.
That's why I wanted to get to the point of helping folks, helping them get to where they need to be and let them know that they're not alone.
Right.
The whole slogan with the Some Call Me Trent Foundation is, some call me lucky, some call me blessed, some call me paralyzed. Just call me Trent.
I love it. Can you say that one more time?
Some call me lucky, some call me blessed, some call me paralyzed. Just call me Trent.
Just call me Trent. I absolutely love that.
I refused to live in the confines of my disability, man. I refuse to allow this disability to control me. I control it. And that's where the foundation came from. That's why I'm going to be speaking at these focus groups across the country, helping these folks with neuro, because a lot of the stuff is neuro.
Right.
And I've learned so much about my body and how the brain actually controls everything, muscles, nerves, everything. I can tell my brain something and my brain speak to its entire body, make it move.
Right.
It's no, and these folks need to understand that, and especially in the Afro-American community, they need to understand, they need to know, and like I said, I'll be that poster boy for that.
really appreciate that. Because I know after the surgery that I had, on paper, like if you were to register for disability, it's considered a high grade of a disability because of the numbness and
Exactly.
you're just never 100% who you
Exactly.
used to be, right? But it's your decision to continue to show up and push past those things. And I love what you were saying about words, because I remember, and I'm gonna get to the point behind this story really quickly, but I remember, I don't know, it was probably the 10th doctor's appointment, maybe, or blood draw, and they always struggled to draw blood, it would take them several times. It was just it was
Right.
just torture in some forms of fashion, right? And it was always a struggle before this surgery to walk the distance it took to get where I needed to go. Right. And I remember it was just one of those days. Like you said, I was having a really bad day. I had just reached my limit with this. Right.
Right.
COVID was just getting started good, kicking in high gear. So you couldn't have that support system with you that you were used to. My whole family would have went to every one of those with me, but it just wasn't allowed at that time. So I was alone and exhausted. And I remember sitting in the chair to get my blood drawn yet again. And right in front of me on the little bed, well, I don't know why the bed was even there, but there was a sign on the side of it, and it said, "You were given this life to live because God knew you had the strength to live it."
Now you tell me, ain't God good? Come on.
So yeah, so it was
Come
in
on.
that moment I was like, okay, Anary, you know, there's going to be a story. You say it all the time. There's a testimony out of this that's going to help somebody. So
Exactly.
you just got to keep pushing through this till you see what's on the other side. Because in that moment I had said, I'm not going to it. I'm just going to live with this. I'm not going to another doctor's appointment.
Exactly. But
I
the
just had
key, the,
reached
the
my
key,
end.
the key to that success, getting to that point, getting to that pinnacle part and stage of this disability, is losing oneself.
Right.
You have to. You have to lose yourself and take the focus off of you.
Mm-hmm.
Place it on what it's supposed to be placed on, helping others.
Exactly. In business as well. I tell people all the time, and I'm glad you said that, because I'm going to encourage people in business. You do the same thing. When you sit down and you look at your business, if your business is crafted by the way you like to absorb information, simply because you decided you wanted to write an ebook, not because your audience needs one, but just because you decided that's how you wanted to deliver the information. If
Exactly.
you can't look at your business and see how it's tailored to cater to the people you were meant to heal, then you need to sit down and do a revamp. Because at the end of the day, we're just the vessels to help other people. And in business, you get paid to do it, right?
That's it.
That's really what that's all about. But it's really not about us. So when you're answering those questions of how you help and you're writing your content online, if you stop making it about you
Exactly.
and make
You, you,
yourself the
you
other
reward.
person that you're trying to help, it's all the
Your,
difference in the world.
exactly. Excuse me. Your reward comes in someone else's success.
Right.
Someone that you've assisted, they're successful. That's your reward. That's your repayment. Them being successful, and
Right.
then once they get to the pinnacle of that stage in their life, they're gonna help someone else.
Right.
That's your reward. It's going forward.
It is. It is. Um, there's a quote, and I can't remember the numbers, but it says, it's you help one, and that person goes out and helps over 30,000. It just trickles. It just keeps going and going and going. Um,
Absolutely.
and it's considered a successful business. It's considered impact, right?
That's right.
Um, so impact isn't hard. It's really just taking your journey in life and figuring out how you can use that to help other people. So before we end the show, and we may bring Miss Barbara back on, because she has this impact quote that she does uh, before each show, and I noticed she didn't do that. So I want to give her a chance to do that, because I know somebody needs to hear what she has to say. She had that quote today for a reason. Just like those quotes showed up for us,
Exactly.
her quote's going to show up for somebody else. But tell us, how do we find out more about the foundation and get involved in what it is that you're doing?
Well, right now I'm working working behind the scenes on it, but it's actually somecallme.org. Somecallme.org. That'll actually be going live early part of next week because I'm still working on some stuff as far as, and here's the thing. We want to create awareness for these folks and let them know what services are available for them, everything, even all the way down to the relief bill that Biden signed months ago. And it's not, there's no attention on what's going on. And there's one part of that $119 trillion, $1.9 trillion has a lot to do with people with disabilities. I'm talking about all type of programs, for educational programs, everything for, adults with disability, kids, everything with disability, everything, and is not being promoted. So
Right.
here at the foundation, we're actually creating awareness for all this stuff. That's what I'm working on, bringing that stuff to the light and shedding light on that. Actually, I picked up a client out of Mississippi, a 70-year-old brother that he's an older gentleman. His sister reached out to me through a friend of mine, Tammy, and he needed some motivation, some encouragement. So I sent him a whole bunch of videos of my steps, all the steps that I've taken, just to encourage him and let him know that, hey, this is not the end of the hourglass. Still got life to live. But he's unaware of all the resources that's available to him, and that's where we're going to assist folks, getting them to where they need to be to live an independent life with disability.
I love it. I absolutely love it. And I would expect nothing different from Trent Williams.
I appreciate that.
Nothing different. I'm so glad that we reconnected, and it's been a blessing,
happy,
and I'm
man.
sure
I'm so
very
happy.
impactful for all the audience today. Even if you didn't say a word other than tell your story, to see you sitting there, right, engaging with us on today, it's such a blessing. So this won't be the last time. We'll still be connecting, and I look forward to I believe you're going to have a show coming up.
Yeah, actually, Conversation with Trent is returning on the 23rd, and every Friday, as before years past, like every Friday after the 23rd, May 23rd at 7 p.m. That's the relaunch. The title of that show is Breaking Your Own Heart. And talking about breaking your own heart, sometimes with a condition like this, you have to remove yourself from certain people, including family members, whether it be relationships. If it's toxic for you, you cannot deal with that while in recovery. So you have to break your own heart and remove yourself from that. Folks won't understand it when you're breaking your own heart. They won't understand it, but you have to do that to get on with the better life as far as your recovery. So
I absolutely love it.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Thank you so much again for being here with us today. And I look forward to hearing that show. Definitely will be tuning in. So until next time, this is Anary Bellamy, your impact leader, and this is Trent Williams. Say that quote one more time. Some call me
lucky, some call me blessed, some call me paralyzed. Just call me Trent.
I love it. All right. Until next time, this has been your Hour of Impact. I'm Anary Bellamy, your impact leader. See you next Tuesday.
Haiti borders with the Dominican.
Her name is Serena Buffalino. They call her Mrs. B, and her class always begins with a pledge.
Something local, something global. Haiti.
They're words that carry weight here. Helping yourself means helping others, giving back, here and a world away in Haiti.
And nobody's helping them, except for people like us.
It was through her the class learned of Haiti, of the nearly 1 million orphans, many with no school, no support, no Mrs. B in their lives.
They could not wrap their head around that.
Mrs. B's students are among Toronto's most at risk. Their challenges vary from emotional and behavioral difficulties to learning disabilities. Their trauma so severe they can't function in a regular school setting, and we aren't allowed to show most of their classmates.
For most of the kids, most of society has turned them away. And in this classroom, they're accepted. They're accepted no matter what for who they are.
Take Yolanda. She came here last year so burdened and withdrawn, she would often fall silent, sometimes for days on end. It was, she says, Mrs. B's patience, her quiet encouragement, that saved her.
She actually saves people's lives from dangers.
And perhaps that's why these marginalized kids feel such a kinship with the orphans of Haiti, and why they were moved to act.
And so when Yolanda and Jackie and Patrick said, well, Miss B, we need to build them a school.
Build a school, no easy task. They started out raising money. They sold samosas, washed cars, screened movies, you name it. And in just a few months, this little class raised $20,000. So much, it's not just a one-room schoolhouse they can build, but a full 3-story school. And so Mrs. B set off on a journey she'd dreamed of, up into the dusty mountains above Port-au-Prince to a town called Canaan. It's home to thousands of earthquake refugees who live with no running water, no electricity, and no school, until now. The first step was a temporary school. It's up and running. 53 students already in uniform. The permanent school for 250 is growing from its foundations.
It makes me want to cry because she just makes me feel so awed, and I'm very proud of her.
All of this because of a handful of students back in Canada and Mrs. B, the teacher who believed in them.
These are for you.
At another fundraiser, a special tribute to the students, accepted by someone who, without Mrs. B, might not be here.
They believe in me and I believe in them, and together we not only change our lives, but we change the world around us.
For inspiring great things and seeing the potential in everyone, Serena Buffalino is this week's Everyday Hero.
This is the reason why I do what I do, is because of Yolanda and all the...
I'm hanging on your every word, the love inside, I feel it burn. I've never felt this way before, I've had a taste, now I want more. So here we are, just you and me, I'm overwhelmed when you touch me. You talk so sweet, I hear the sound, 'cause when you do, my feet won't touch the ground.
Hello, and I am back, and I feel so good because I know you can probably hear me. You just don't know. I've learned the power of support. Support meaning help support. Support meaning calling the help desk and figuring out what is going on. I have 3 laptops, everybody, 3. And right now I have 2 working because I got another. You know what? I just found out. See, this is what I'm talking about by owning what you do and learning and growing. I have this Diamond Factor Experience show with the wonderful Impact Hour today with Anary and her wonderful guests. Some call me Trent. I'm loving his story, and he didn't let what he's dealing with limit him to what he needed to do in life and what he's doing in life right now. He's a motivator, he's an inspirational, he's a business person, and beyond. See, so right there tells you that, okay, the little stuff that I'm dealing with right now, what I was dealing with, is nothing compared to what he has pushed forward to do. So right there should show you there's no excuses, none at all. And so he's like, well, I got a little headache, or, this is going on. No. Take some Motrin, Tylenol, keep it going, or relax, or take a nap or whatever, because There's too much to do. See, that's why I keep saying there's too much to do in this life to have something stagnate you, set you back no matter what. And see, look at all the stuff that he's dealing with. I mean, it was just amazing to hear that. So, Anary, I'm loving who you're bringing on the shows. I keep telling people, I said, this is Impact Hour. This is Impact Hour. I'm like, oh my God. I mean, it's to the, see, this is again, collaboration is the key. Collaboration is key. I'm just so glad she has her show under the Diamond Factor Experience show. You know, it's just going to get better and better and better as I see. But as she stated, because yes, I like to tell, like, you know, quotes or read a passage, something positive to really help you just to think for the day and think for the week. So again, yes, I do have one for today. Read it right here. Be not afraid of going slowly. Be only afraid of standing still. Okay, this is what I'm always talking about. Stay in the race, but don't sit on the sidelines. It's kind of similar to that. We all know people who do not start projects, careers, or relationships they know they should go forward with. People who give excuses after excuses and reasons after reasons for staying stuck. The truth is, people would rather feel safe in a bad situation, now that's sad, isn't it, than risk beginning a new project. Most people want some kind of guarantee or safety net before beginning anything new. Has anybody been around there wanting a safety net, or just like, well, I got to make sure everything's okay before I do whatever, right? Are you one of these people? Mm-hmm. Are you one of these people? Today, take a risk. Take a risk. Remember, even if you are going slowly, give yourself credit. At least you're going the right direction. You are doing something. You started somewhere. You're moving in the race. Enjoy the day. So I love this. Be not afraid of going slowly. Be only afraid of standing still. And this one I might read again for Wednesday. I love this one because this really attaches to me, because I'm always having to push myself and even giving somebody telling others or asking them or challenging them of, okay, are you making so many excuses in your life or trying to look for safety nets or what have you in order to stop you from moving to the next level in life, or just moving, period? We ain't talking, let's not even go to the next level. Let's just say moving, period, in your lane and what you're supposed to be doing. So you need to really hone in on that and make sure that those excuses are not there, because those excuses will hinder you to the point, not only hindering you and your genius and your gifts, but it will also hinder you from helping others. See, I keep telling you, your PPD, your person, purpose, passion, drive in your life, which I call the diamond factor, that's your foundation. And if you're making excuses not to move in your gifts and your genius then that's going to cause problems, because now all these other people and all the 7 billion or whatever in the world is waiting for you. And you're holding back because you're like, I don't know. I can't do it right now. I'm not feeling too well. And I'm not saying, okay, if you're not feeling good, okay, I get it. Some people just don't feel good. You got to take a rest. That's where you come self-care. That self-care kicks in. But if it's just something like, me and sound, I'm going to use me as an example. I had big issues with sound this morning. I had 3 laptops. I was on one, the other one conked out. I was on this one, the sound wasn't pulling up. Then the internet thing started acting up. Then I had to call the help desk. But guess what? I kept pushing. I kept moving forward. I said, this is not going to stop me from getting on to make sure, first of all, I closed for the wonderful Queen Anary, and to make sure I did this quote, because like she said earlier, you never know who's listening that needs this. Just like people needed to hear Trent this morning. People that need to hear Anary this morning. So I could have stopped all that and said, you know what, Anary, we're going to cancel today because I can't hear nothing. No, I came on real quick, moved out the way, let her do her show, and we kept it moving. So look at the bigger picture on what you're trying to do in your life, and make sure that you're still staying in the race. I don't care if you're a turtle, your hare, your rabbit, whatever, how fast or slow you're going, stay in there. Don't be on the sidelines looking around, trying to figure out, okay, well, I'll just sit here. No, you get in the race. People don't let people stop you because you might not be moving the same way they feel like you should be moving. You have to move the way you have to move in your life, because you have your goals and your dreams. They have their goals and their dreams. They might approach it faster than you. You might approach it faster than them. But either way, let's approach it. Let's get in that race. And on that note, I feel me on a soapbox, and I'm going to close the show for today. But tomorrow we will be back. Oh, it's so nice. Every day we'll be back. We'll be back tomorrow with Mr. Barry Mixon in the house and a special guest, because Laura Armstrong, that used to come on Wednesdays right behind him with her communication and understanding personality, she's moving to Thursday. So it's very exciting that she's still staying in the Diamond Factor Experience family, as I call it. So let's show the support. Everybody coming on, the guests, the experts, they're taking the time out to come on the show and give you just a little inkling of their genius, a little inkling of the gifts that they have in them. So I ask, being created this show and being producer and just being a person that understands that support is very much needed, especially when you're in your own business, if you're doing a project, whatever it is, support is the key. So let's support each other on this show. Come on, share it out with others. I see people, chiming in here and there. I see the background. I'm looking, and I see people coming on the show, and I hope, the biggest thing I always strive for and hope for is that you're getting value, that you're getting a lot of value out of this show, because it doesn't make sense to even have it if you're not getting none out of it. If you can't take what you hear, any little piece that you hear, and take it to help you move positive in your life, then shame on me. Shame on me. And I want to make sure you get that value. So with that said, have a wonderful, wonderful rest of your Tuesday. We will see you Wednesday morning. And as I always say, let your purpose shine, your PPD shine, because people need you. See you tomorrow. Bye.